So what's up, bosses? Hope everyone's doing fantastic. Now, earlier today I was tagged by Fragrance asking me what were my first fragrances. He shot a quick video of his one, so I thought I'd do a quick video of mine, talking about my first niche as well as my first designers back in the day. So I'm going to be back in just a second to all about those. So welcome back, you're watching the Luxury Frags Boss channel. My name's Scott, of course I'm the Luxury Frags Boss. Thank you for joining me for another review, and thank you very much to Benjamin McFadden from Fragrance for sending me the tag to do this video. Thought I'd take a little trip down memory lane with you guys, talk about my very first fragrances also, and then I'll go into sort of how I started in niche really. So about 25 years ago, when I was a wee 14 years old, I think it was, somewhere around sort of 14 or 15 years old, I remember my dad coming home from a vacation, and while he'd been at the airport, he'd left us behind, us kids, so my mum and dad had a little vacation to themselves. But when they came back, my dad had a bottle of Davidoff Cool Water, which at the time was, it was not a very well known fragrance. It was starting to pick up, but it was a brand new fragrance, I believe, at the time. So he bought it at the airport and duty free on the way out. And then, I mean, I borrowed it, and I just remember falling in love with that sort of fragrance. And then soon after that, I bought myself Carolina Herrera for Men. That one I remember going through, up until about 8 years ago, I think I went through about 4 or 5 bottles of that altogether, including some big ones. I think I had a 150ml or something like that of that one, but I did use that one a lot. That was one of my favourite fragrances. Actually, Amouage Journey reminds me a little bit of that. There's similarities I find in Amouage Journey to that one. Unfortunately, my wife doesn't like Amouage Journey, which is why I don't have it in my collection. Then besides those, the other two that really stick out to me, Giorgio Armani's Acqua di Gio, and then Issey Miyake. L'Eau d'Issey. They're the ones that sort of I really remember in my first thought. I had a whole bunch of fragrance by the time I was 16 years old, because I always asked for them for sort of Christmases and birthdays or any other sort of gift or anything like that. And then after I was 16, when I was old enough to drive really, so once I got to sort of 18 and I was driving, I remember sort of every other weekend I was pretty much going to shopping centres and sniffing out for anything that was new, and it became a bit of an addiction. I think at some point, for a young age really, I had about sort of 30 different fragrances, and I was hardly ever using them. So pretty much the same as I did now really, but nowadays they're much more expensive. So I mean, that's so 25 years ago, that's pretty much where I was. In fact, last year on Instagram I actually posted a picture of 4 designer fragrances, talking about back in the day, that's what I wore, where it all started. And you can actually find those 4 fragrances on my Instagram if you go back quite a while. So let's talk about niche now. When did I get started with niche? Well, that started about 8 years ago when I moved to Grand Cayman, and the company that I came to work for actually are a Creed retailer. We sell all the designer fragrances, pretty much every designer that you can think of, but we also had Creed, was the top one that we sold at the time. So I got introduced to the world of Creed. The first one I got myself, I actually had some store credit from when I was working on cruise ships and I was a shopping guide, and I got introduced to the world of Creed, and the first one I bought myself was, where'd it go? This one here. Creed Himalaya. I know that's an unusual first Creed for a lot of people. Most people go straight towards Aventus. Aventus had come out, I think, the year before or 2 years before, so it was very popular, and everyone was saying that's the one you should buy, that's the one you should buy. But this is the one I actually went ahead and bought. And then soon after that, a little trip down memory lane. Bearing in mind, I was into sort of fresher fragrances when I moved to Grand Cayman because of the hot weather here. So soon after that, I added in Creed Green Irish Tweed. I forgot the name of it then, but yeah, Creed Green Irish Tweed. Obviously smells a little bit like Davidoff Cool Water. And then after that, I believe it was Aventus, and then Royal Oud. And then after that, very soon after that, we brought in Amouage. Now, I didn't know that, I was under the impression at the time that Creed was the best up until I'd say probably 6 or 7 years ago, and then we brought in Amouage and we brought in Bond Number 9, and then I realised that there was this whole world of sort of high-end fragrances and niche fragrances out there. So I started researching. But yeah, I mean, when we brought in Amouage, I very soon after picked up one of Some of you know is one of my favourites, and I can't actually see it. Oh, there it is. It's right, sitting right in the middle of my fragrances. And I bought myself Interlude, was the very first one. I got my from Amouage, which, as you will know, is a very, very strong fragrance. Not everybody's cup of tea. And then soon after that, I got myself Jubilation 25, and then I started sort of looking around and finding out what else was out there. And then I started discovering Le Labo and Kilian. Kilian was a house I was really interested in, but these are not really brands that I really got to explore very much until I travelled a bit, really. And it was, I'd say, over probably about 3 years ago now was when I first started sort of looking around and buying other things. But before that, I was sort of adding adding more creeds and stuff like that to my collection. So I mean, so that's where well, nowadays I've got about, I'm not even sure what the count is at the moment. I think it's about 40 bottles. Obviously now I've got Kilian's, Clive Christian's, Fragrance de Bois, I've got Widian, I'm hoping to add a couple of Widians as well, just exploring Bornikov. So it's, nowadays I'm all niche, I'm all about the quality. I much prefer buying quality over quantity, and I don't have a mad collection now either. I mean, although I say 40 bottles, some of them are smaller bottles. I mean, I'm testing fragrances every day. So a lot of the time I'm wearing samples, so I don't go crazy. And nowadays I just buy what I love. I believe in having the best collection, not the biggest collection. It's pointless having a huge, some other reviewers and collectors have these huge collections. I don't know how they get the chance to wear them. I mean, obviously they're not testing fragrances every day like me, but yeah, I mean, that's one of the joys. I'm out there exploring fragrances to be able to do my reviews and stuff like that for you guys. So I mean, that's pretty much my journey. That's where I started in designer and when I started in niche. So I hope you enjoyed that. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Besides that, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. You can find me at Luxury Fragrance Boss. I haven't decided who I'm going to tag yet, but I will do it very, very soon. I'll do it in my description. So those are, well, you'll know if you got tagged anyway, because you'll be in the description. Besides that, spelling fantastic. Look forward to seeing you very soon, and thank you so much for watching.